What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Now, today we're going to be talking about why I do believe that $600 plus is still programmed for Solana, and although that's going to piss some people off, if/when I am right, I'm going to rub it in your face, so have your fun now and we'll see what happens. But with that in mind, we're going to talk a little bit today about why I do believe $600 is still programmed, and why what we're seeing as of recent with Solana's blockchain isn't really that big of a deal. Now, let's talk about the blockchain thing first, and I do want to just point out the fact that I, just like you, am very aggravated with Solana. I have over $100,000 in stable coins that I cannot really move or do anything with at this given point over the last 4 or 5 days, and it's very aggravating. So I'm not going to pretend like I don't feel the pain and feel the criticism that many people do feel. But what I'm not going to do is let my criticisms or let the aggravation I'm feeling right now cloud what I am seeing from Solana. And what I am seeing from Solana is a blockchain that has progressively gotten better month after month after month. If you were here in 2021, you know that Solana was dog shit back then. I mean, absolutely terrible. By far the most unreliable thing I've ever seen in my life. But it was something that I noticed had potential. And since then, since 2021, we have seen it consistently get better and better and better. And that, in my opinion, is all that matters. Because at some given point, your progress is going to get you to a point in which you do meet a suitable threshold to be considered one of the best ever. And I do think that Solana is getting to that point. And the fact that we have gotten this far in the bull market before having any issues is exciting to me, because I think it's going to prepare the Solana team and ecosystem and chain for the chaos that is going to ensue once we do hit the peak of this market, which I don't think we're at yet. And so in my opinion, kind of having this little bump in the road as of recent is going to allow it to start to learn and develop going forward, to see what needs to be fixed it, and continue forward like it always has. Now, so with that in mind, as I mentioned before, the little slowdown in transactions, all this shit, yes, very annoying. Grand scheme of things, not a biggie in my opinion. Now, let's talk about why I think that, with that in mind, its price is programmed for $600. Well, I gave you all a thesis not too long ago, and I'm going to summarize it, but I will leave a full link to a full video down in the description below, link for you, that I thought that Solana was going to hit $686 to $650. Now, the general thesis and a summary of that thesis was that I believe, based off of the Fibonacci's, that Solana is going to reach its 1.272 Fibonacci extension level. In that video, I gave you example after example, from the micro to the smallest time frames to the biggest time frames, example after example of Solana reaching this Fibonacci extension level, which is again the 1.272 Fibonacci extension level. And because of that thesis, and because of those examples, that allowed me to create the thesis that I still do believe we're going to see Solana be able to do that again on a grand scheme of things. Now, what we can see here is that generally the only obstacle that can stand in Solana's way is the 786 to 618 box. I told you all in that video that this 618 to 786 box would serve as the strongest point of resistance that Solana's probably ever seen. But if we were capable of seeing its price clearing this level, the door is now opened up to that 1.272 Fibonacci extension, and it's just a matter of time before we get there. And obviously one of the main concerns that I had at this given point was that we would see some type of major rejection off of this level, and that's just not what we saw. We saw Solana consolidate, right? We saw it make this beautiful run and then go sideways for a couple months, but eventually gathered up enough strength to be able to break this key level of resistance, then opening up the door to $680, in my opinion, programming a move to this level eventually. The issue with that, though, is that one of my major concerns was what was going to happen with Solana as a whole. I always said that, right? Like, although the charts can say one thing, if Solana's blockchain keeps going to shit, it's not going anywhere, right? And what my concern was that we would see one day one of these major outages happen or something like that, and that would cause this, to maybe crumble, right? That could maybe change my thesis a bit. But interestingly enough, it hasn't changed my thesis at all. I mean, realistically, what we've been seeing from Solana over the last couple, weeks, but realistically the last few days, has been a not necessarily a complete stoppage of the chain, but a massive slowdown of the chain. And realistically, although that is the case, its price is still rather sideways. And in my opinion, if you give me any other chain, whether it's BNB or Ethereum or any of them, and they had the same thing happen, whether they go out or whether they slow down to the extent that Solana has, you would see something a lot worse, right? And although that's not a justification for Solana going out, although it is very annoying still, it just goes to show that this is nothing new for Solana, and it doesn't change the trajectory that it's been on, because what it's doing now is what it's kind of always done, just to a smaller degree these days, and that isn't kind of changing people's opinion on it. There are still those whales out there, right? There is still Pantera Era Capital and these other VCs that just bought over $1 billion worth of Solana. And that is for a reason. And so with that in mind, even though in these moments it is very annoying, my thesis remains the same, that we're going to see Solana at Fibonacci extend up to this 1.272 Fibonacci extension level to upwards of $600 to $688. And I don't care if it takes a week. I don't care if it takes a month. I don't care if it takes a year. I do think we're going to get there, whether that looks like this, right? Whether that looks like this, whether that looks like this, I couldn't care less. I think that's going to happen one day. And if I'm wrong, I'll be wrong. You can go out and, talk your shit and do whatever you want to do. We'll just see who's right, because just know, if the day comes Solana hits $600, I'm going to talk a lot of shit. And so with that in mind, I just wanted to give an update to tell you if my thesis has changed at all, and it has not. And even though everything that has happened recently has been annoying, I don't think it's a big deal. So of course, I hope you guys do appreciate and enjoy these quick Solana updates. If you do, you can always let me know by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.